Anchor down, Admiral Nation. Welcome to the newest episode of the Admiral Brag Sheet. I think we're on episode 6 now. Is that right, guys? Seems like it's flying by pretty quick. But as always, the Admiral Brag Sheet produced by All Things MacArthur, and we're back here for another week, the week before Thanksgiving. To give you a little report on athletics and see where we're going with the whole season. So we'll get started with just recapping last week, and we'll start on Monday the 6th. We had Bayou Middle School basketball versus Gulfport Central Middle School basketball. We talked about that a little bit last week. Really great to always be able to watch my two middle school teams compete against each other. Really competitive games that night. Bayou Middle School won all but one of those games. And that was the 7th grade boys game. Ended up in a tie that day, so it was a good day for Gulfport athletics. Also in basketball, Gulfport High School 9th grade basketball versus West Harrison. The boys came away with a win that day. The girls came away with a loss that day as well. Soccer, what did we have last week with the JV boys and girls soccer at Stone?
Yeah, JV girls and boys went to Stone. I'm not sure the girls scored, but they won.
Wesley talked about that last week, right? Didn't the girls win against Stone last week?
Yeah, the boys won 3-0. I know that, and that was our 9th grade team. So good to get the experience early in the year. Yeah.
Good. And then middle school soccer.
I have no clue.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
they beat Poplarville.
Yeah, my little brother's on I think he's on the white team.
Yeah.
And they won, but I don't know about the other teams.
Yeah.
I think Orange probably won. Yeah.
So
for the boys' side at least.
Okay. And then Tuesday came up with high school soccer versus St. Patrick Trip. What happened that night?
I knew that one. The girls dropped a tough one, 4-1 to St. Pat's, but St. Pat's is a really good team for the girls. They won state last year, and I think they'll probably go back to back. Just honestly watching that game, it wasn't as lopsided as the score said, and definitely could have put chances away for either side. But just an unfortunate result for the girls, but they bounced back, and we'll get to that later. But just a little unfortunate for them, but always tough to play that caliber team. The boys, we won 2-0. You'll find that some of these scores that come across the weeks are closer than like the girls' scores, but I think that if you see just the way we play, it's a little bit more like a domination than with a score. We do a lot more possession than scoring, so it's kind of just domination on the part of us. I mean, 2-0 is 2-0, but.
And soccer is one of those sports too, where the other team's coach can really strategize to really get you off of your game. I've heard the phrase "parking the bus in front of the net." They basically will put their entire defense in front of the net just to try to keep the score close. They know they can't win unless they go to penalty kicks, and so they park everybody in front of the net.
I think at that point he was just trying to play for a draw, because it's not PK's exhibition match, so I don't really see the point in it. Why not just come out and play? But then again, I'm on the receiving side of it, so it's whatever. I mean, good to get the result. A win's a win, so we're not complaining. But it's always tough to play against 11 in the box. But
yeah. So that's tough, but again, a win's a win. Come away with a 2-0 win, and the girls come away with a 4-1 loss against a really good opponent. We knew with a lot of that talent that we had graduating last year that the girls were going to have to probably go through some lumps, but Coach Pryor is going to have them ready to go when it comes time for region matches, and I can see them getting better, and we'll go over last night's game as well a little bit later on. So, but good to see our teams playing on our home field, even though it wasn't at the Herb yet, it was at the track field. So, Wednesday we had more middle school basketball action. We don't have the exact results from those games, as we try to focus on the high school quite a bit. We'll highlight the middle school as much as possibly can. But on the 8th, Bayou Middle School basketball played at Hancock, and Central basketball played versus Biloxi at home. Both of those teams, I did get a chance to watch them last week. Good to see them out there just going through the process of getting better every single week. So that was really good. And then we had 9th grade basketball versus Hancock in the Burt Jenkins gym. Again, the boys got a win. Girls came away with a loss that day. Again, we've got some really good development going on in the girls program right now. With ninth grade on down, Coach Price and his staff are doing a really good job developing those kids and trying to get it to where every year we're developing a few kids to contribute to the varsity roster. But in ninth grade, in football and basketball, really, we've got a good group of kids, and our ninth grade boys basketball team is dominating a lot of what's going on. You look at some of those kids that are playing basketball, also play football, and our football team had a really great year. Ended in that controversial fashion with the forfeit that we had to take, but basketball looks like they're going to dominate quite a bit this year as well. So then we also had Bayou Middle School white soccer versus Picayune. That was played at the track field, and Bayou Middle School orange soccer against Long Beach. It was supposed to be at the Herb. We had to move it out to the Sportsplex in order to get that game in. I actually got to go watch that game that night. Both the orange teams came away with a win that night against Long Beach, so that was really cool to see them. Looks like they got a couple good squads out there, and I'm looking forward to going over and seeing the white team as well play at some point this year, and just to
I need to go over and watch some of those games.
see those future Admirals play. That's always big. So then Thursday night, we had Bayou Middle School basketball at Ocean Springs, and Gulfport High School soccer went to Oak Grove. What do we have happen that night?
Oak Grove is historically a really good team, both sides of the ball. The girls lost 2-1, but I think very easily could have won that game. They played really well that game, actually. It's just unfortunate, but like you said, Coach Pryor will have them right, and there was definitely really drastic improvement, because honestly, I think Oak Grove was a bit better than St. Pat's.
Yeah.
And you closed that gap 2 goals, so could have gone either way. It's really good that you're seeing that's 2 days to adjust, and you're already adjusting like that. So
yeah, a little kind of side story on the girls matchup. The Oak Grove coach has been there for a really long time, as well as Coach Pryor. And I know Coach Pryor came into my office before they headed off to Oak Grove and was talking about, kind of reminiscing about his career. He's been here for 22, 23 years coaching, and throughout that time, every year, he was playing Oak Grove's coach, and so Oak Grove's coach is retiring at the end of this year. So that was kind of a bittersweet moment for him to be able to compete against him one last time, but then also losing that game when he's won so many of those over the years. So that was really cool to see Coach Pryor kind of reminisce over that course of time. So, and then the boys, what happened with the boys?
Boys won 1-0. We scored really late in the game, actually. Not too late, about 20 minutes left. So played 60 until we got a goal. But one of those games where the keeper I'm actually good friends with, he played a heck of a game. 17 saves, I think.
Wow.
We defended 1 shot on goal, and I think had over 25 shots. So, again, just kind of a lopsided game for us. But either way, that's a good Oak Grove team. I'll tell you that. It was a good result for us, for sure.
Yeah,
Played really well.
That's really incredible. That many saves in a game. That really means that y'all are peppering the goal.
We watched that film, and it was insane. Like, he's just left and right. Save.
Yeah.
So,
that's incredible.
Yeah.
Really cool. I was trying to pull up that stat of how many times Coach Pryor and
You're talking about that picture?
Grove. Yeah, do you have that with you?
Because
it shows how many times they played each other, and I just thought that would be something cool to kind of take a look at.
I saw the
share
picture.
with. Why don't you look that up, and we'll move on to the next spot, which is going to be high school football Friday night, the first round of the playoffs. What do we have there, Wesley?
Yeah, that was our game of the week, I guess you could say, against Pearl, round 1 in Milner. Tough result for the Admirals. Lost 13-17. It was a rainy game. It was an ugly game. It was tough to watch. Is that the graphic y'all have?
Yeah, that's it. So let's go ahead and get to this before we get to the football game. Coach Pryor and Coach Clay had competed against each other 56 combined years of action between the two of them. 36 total matches, 8 of those being in the playoffs. So that's kind of the end of an era right there in soccer, because you don't see two coaches stick around at a program as long as those two guys did, and the way things work in the world now, people tend to move around quite a bit. So that's something that's going to go by. Across the years, you just won't see matchups like that anymore. So just shout out to those two really good coaches. We can give credit where credit is due. Oak Grove's had a great program over the years, and Coach Clay, we wish you a great retirement. I know he's looking forward to this last year, but Coach Pryor was really appreciative of his time that they played against each other. So let's get back to football. Friday night against Pearl. Go ahead, Wesley.
Yeah, like I was saying, it was rainy. It was people were dropping catches that probably would have been made. I think we had maybe four turnovers.
Yeah.
It was just a tough game. Admirals finished the year 6-5 overall, but the 6 wins that we had were all domination.
Yeah.
So I guess that was good. I guess we just could never really put away the close games. Just always ended up coming short. But overall, I think it was Coach Pinnock's first year. Mm-hmm. Obviously, something to build on. It only goes up from here, I think.
Yeah. So we were talking about that just before we started to film here. Was we looked at the record and we were like 6-5, and that just doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
For a lot of different reasons. But what you just said is the wins, we dominated. The games were over in the first quarter, and then all the losses were really close losses.
Yeah.
I think you look at. I think we thought that the game was over at a point. I think the student section thought it. I was standing on the sideline. I thought this thing's over. We were up 13-3, up 10 points late in the third quarter. Had the ball deep in Pearl's territory, and then kind of the Ocean Springs story jumped on us again. We just started turning the ball over, and both teams had to play on the same field. So I don't think you can blame the weather totally on it, but Nico had a couple balls pop out of his hand as he was trying to throw. We had some fumbles. The wet weather definitely played a role, don't you guys think?
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. It just happened so fast,
quick. Yeah, it was like.
It's like that fourth quarter was just different. Like, what was it? 13-10 at the end of the third, or maybe it was 13-3 at the end of the third.
I think it was 13. I think it might have been 13-6, but I know we were up 13-3 late in the third quarter when the turnovers started happening, and it went really fast because it seemed like the game ended, and I thought 30 minutes ago I was sitting here trying to plan our trip to Brandon next week, and then it just kind of fell apart on us at the last minute. Great senior bunch of guys.
Sure.
You look at the Kai McClendons. Kai seems to be piling up D1 offers right now. Georgia Tech, Arizona State,
Memphis, I think.
Memphis. South Alabama, all of those came in the past week. He's going to be someone to miss. Nico, obviously, we're going to miss him behind center. Gavin Brown, Cam Joseph. I'm afraid to start naming people because I don't want to leave anybody out because it was such an explosive offense, especially. But the defense was very stingy. We had a lot of seniors that we got to replace. But, obviously, I think we saw great improvement in the program this year under Coach Pinnock's first year in the program. And I'm looking forward to seeing what comes in the future as well. So, you guys want to close out any thoughts on the football season before we move on?
Well, I was just going to mention, so I know we kind of have a tradition of getting bounced in the first round. Hopefully I was hoping I could bring it up so I can jinx us so next year it won't happen. But do you know how many years it's been?
It's been a long time since
it's kind of like a curse.
We won a playoff game in the playoffs. I want to say it's been 10 years or more since we've won.
I think we won one in 2019.
Yeah.
My sister was in high school, and I think we did end up beating someone in the first round.
Yeah.
And I don't know who, but I think it was the year we went.
That might have been
10-2.
George County. I think in the first round of the playoffs, something like that.
I was about to say that because we went 10-2 district championship, had a shot at state. So.
Regardless of that, I know there has been one mixed in recently, but over the last 15 years, there just hasn't been much playoff success. Yeah. It's the reason why we beefed up our schedule. We went through that long stretch where we dominated the coast.
Yep.
The term "Kings of the Coast" came up quite a bit. but it really didn't translate into any playoff success, So last year, when Coach Archie came to me wanting to really set up the schedule, and we talked about how good we were and what can we do to make ourselves more relevant at the state level. And I just told him, I said, we've got to beef up our schedule. That's why we went and scheduled Brandon and Madison Central and Picayune and all those guys to get ourselves ready for playoff football. Now, didn't translate to a win this year, but we were right there, ready to win the ball game. We just couldn't quite get there, and I think our region on the coast really has to look at things and how are we going to get ourselves better, because all 4 teams from our region lost in the first round. Ocean Springs lost to Meridian. We lost to Pearl. The other 2 were supposed to lose, but we've really got to do something as a region to make ourselves better prepared for the playoffs so that we can go back to the old days of when the coast did used to dominate the state. So really good point to bring up there, Wesley. So anything you want to add to football season?
Not really. It was a good season for
Yeah,
the
it
guys.
was fine.
Proud of them,
It was a good
regardless
time.
of what it is. So.
Yeah. Good time. So let's move on to Saturday. Our basketball team started off their regular seasons. Both of them collecting wins on Saturday. The girls took care of business against Picayune, winning 52-32. It was one of those games where they kind of gradually built on the lead, and by the end of the game, you look up and we're up by 20 points. Again, Coach Price is playing some really young kids, trying to develop that program from the loss of 3 really good seniors that we had last year. And it translated into a lot of hard work over the offseason and picked up that first win of the year against Picayune. And then the boys came up with a 30-point win against Bay High, and it was another one that was kind of a similar story. While it was never really close, we won every single quarter along the way that built towards a 30-point win. Amir, I think, had 25 points that night to lead our scoring, but then we had a bunch of young guys really step up. I'll tell you one guy that I'll look at that I think has a bright future. He didn't fill up the stat column on Saturday, but Markel Simmons, the freshman, he really did a good job coming in. Didn't start, came off the bench. Looks like he's got great court vision. He finished off. He had his first high school dunk late in that ball game as a freshman. That's pretty cool. It was a fast break in the last 2 minutes of the game. Came up with a big dunk, and the boys started off the year the right way with a big 64-34 win. So proud of them. Looking forward to seeing what both of those do for the rest of the year. So let's move on to the week to come. Again, we're filming on Tuesday today instead of our normal Monday. So we're going to backtrack to some things that happened last night. Bayview Middle School played at Pass Christian in basketball, and Gulfport Central played at Ocean Springs in basketball. The high school basketball teams, 9th grade, played at D'Iberville last night. And then we had some soccer stuff that had to move around a little bit. Before we get to the high school action, just kind of share a little bit of what we had to do. We had 3 games scheduled. We had a game scheduled by one of our middle schools at the track field. One was supposed to play at the Herb, and then the high school was supposed to play at Pearl River Community College against George County. Well, with the rain coming in last night, we had to make some adjustments. Obviously, we didn't want to play on the Herb and mess it up because of the rain coming in. The high school soccer game at Pearl River, they didn't want to play on their field, so we moved it to the track field. Both middle school games got rescheduled for another time, and then our high school got another chance to have a home game. This one against George County at the track field. So, Tripp, why don't you take us through what happened last night?
Both boys and girls won 1-0, actually. Just not thinking about that. Girls got a pretty dominant win as well. George County's got some really... They're kind of the same on both sides, boys and girls. It's just really... They have a few good soccer players, and then it's just really big guys and girls that just run at you.
And they're traditionally pretty decent.
Yeah,
too.
It's definitely a decent team, for sure. And they've got guys that I play club soccer with that are really good, and they're really young. There's a couple of guys that are freshmen that are just good soccer players.
Yeah.
And I think they'll be good in years to come, because they're also 6A. So they stayed, right? They did. They were on the one.
Yeah, they stayed 6A. So that's one of the blessings of some of those schools. Got a chance to really be where they're supposed to be with the matchups. Obviously, we stayed in the highest classifications. George County, it benefited them because they got a chance to stay in 6A. Hancock, another situation, they got a chance to stay in 6A. So they're competing against schools a little bit more similar in size to them.
Yeah, so I definitely think they'll have a shot actually at going far for sure. But yeah, kind of more of a domination both sides, boys and girls. 1-0 it was wet. It just some factors were a little different. The boys kind of did park the bus a little bit at times, but it's tough to play against those teams because they're kind of just running at you for 80 minutes, and they just don't stop running at you. And it's props to them. They actually hit a shot off the bar because we were just kind of just changing things up, and just one got through, and I think that might have been their only shot. But it did hit the bar. It got past our keeper, hit the bar. So unlucky for them and lucky for us it didn't go in. But we scored early in the game, and I feel like if that shot would have went in, we probably would have found the back of the net another time. But their keeper had 5 or 6 really good saves. So good job on the Knights, both of us, and result's a result. But
who scored the goal for the girls? Can you remember that?
Emily
scored that goal, so big game-winning goal for her. And then how many goals did you say we scored
one
on the boys side?
Yeah,
Who scored it?
Devin scored in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah,
and then which didn't score again. So kind of a weird game. It was so cold and it was raining, and low-key I was just like, can we just blow the whistle, please? Because at the end of the game, we were just wasting time, putting the ball in the corner and just keeping it there, shielding it. And so I don't really know. It's just a tough game.
Yeah.
So
I was actually in my office working until about 6 o'clock last night, and I came out and started to go out to the field, and it looked like it was really cold and not necessarily the most fun situation to play.
But soccer's fun, so good to get out there.
Yeah, I picked at Coach Pryor when I was walking by after we were setting the field up, and I said, "Man, you must really love soccer to play in this." Yeah. And that tends to be a sentiment with soccer players is the weather doesn't really matter. No. Let's just go play.
We're cold. The only time I really hear about being cold is during warm-ups. Like obviously people be cold, and then once the game starts, we're kind of just go.
Yeah.
Throw some gloves on, throw some sleeves on, and do what you got to do, but just play.
Okay. All right. Cool. Tonight we've got Bayview Middle School White Soccer's at D'Iberville. Obviously, that's probably going to have to be taken a look at. It'll be on a turf field, but obviously you don't want to play in too terrible of conditions. So we'll have to take a look and see if D'Iberville is still wanting to host that game tonight. And that's the only game going on the schedule tonight. So why don't you, Wesley, tell us what's going on with middle school basketball on the 15th?
15th. Middle school BVMS plays St. Martin at home, and then Gulfport Central plays Pastor Shan at home. And then we will have the JV and 9th grade boys are playing at Picayune. Should be a good game. I think Picayune, are they a pretty solid basketball program?
Yeah, they've actually had some really big success at the state level. You don't hear a lot about their success at the state level because their football program overshadows everything they do over there. But they're really good at a lot of different things. Baseball's had some good teams there. Basketball teams had some really good success. So yeah, that's going to be a good competition for our JV girls and our 9th grade boys out there that night. And then soccer, what do we have going on middle school wise? And we actually got JV games going on.
Yeah, so JV girls and JV boys. That's the 9th grade team for the boys.
Okay.
But it's all JV. They just send a different roster each time, and it's more of a 9th grade team because we technically have 3 teams. But they'll go play past Christian by 30-7 at Pass. Looking forward to that one. And then the BVMS Orange team plays at Biloxi.
Okay. And again, always good to go over and get a win at Biloxi. So, and then Thursday we've actually had to make a move. This game was supposed to be played on Friday. Had to make a move to Thursday night, and that's going to be Gulfport High School soccer. That's going to be the JV boys and the varsity boys play at St. Stanislaus on Thursday. What kind of team do they have this year?
They're good. They beat Biloxi. It should be a fun one. I think that we should definitely win it. Kind of just looking at these scores, it's been a bit lopsided for us. But I think we should definitely get the win, but not underestimating it. They've beat Biloxi 4-0. It lost to St. Martin 1-0.
Uh-huh.
So they're kind of just I don't know. They have good. I know some of the guys play. They're good players. So
Yeah.
never to be taken lightly either way. So yeah,
Yeah.
pumped for that one. Every game is a playoff game for us.
Yeah.
Just gotta go win it.
Yeah, and that's a really good point you bring up. When you have a really good team, people like circle your game on the schedule, and they're going to give you their best effort. St. Stanislaus historically has got a good boys soccer program, and compete at the state level a lot. They're a small school, but they bring it every time they come play, so that ought to be a good game. I'm gonna throw this one in there. Thursday night, we're having a Big Blue Foundation meeting in the Gulfport High School auditorium. That is we're going to begin the conversation. Not necessarily that we're going to do it, but we're going to start talking about it with all of our booster clubs. The possibility of going to one booster club for the entire athletic department, and this is just going to be an informational meeting for something that might look like, and how it might be a positive for our athletic department and building some capital projects as far as like actual buildings and things like that. And we think that could be beneficial. Not necessarily that we're gonna do it, but let's have the conversation. Do we think that this is something that can happen? What are some questions and concerns that might come up? And so hopefully this is something that might be good for our athletic department, and we're going to bring as many people into that conversation as we possibly can with it. So Friday and Saturday, no events going on. Thanksgiving is fast approaching. We do have a few events going on next week, early in the week, but this is that time of year where we get a chance to kind of stop, catch our breath, do a little bit of a reset, and give thanks for some great things going on in our lives. That's the whole intent of Thanksgiving. You know, there's a lot of history that goes into it in our country and things like that. But I think the important thing to focus on is, hey, what are we thankful for? And that's the roundtable conversation that I want to finish us with tonight. Obviously, this is a show that talks about Gulfport High School athletics. And so I just want us to share a little bit about, you know, what we're thankful for when it comes to Gulfport High School athletics, or just athletics in general, because I know all three of us are very thankful for the opportunities that sports have given us. So, Wesley, why don't you go ahead and kick us off with something that you're thinking?
Yeah, I was just thinking off the top of my head, just like the coaches in general, just thankful for the impact they have on our lives. You know, I've had coaches that have been with me since I've been in middle school and worked my way up through the high school ranks, I guess. But yeah, just thankful for them and all the time they put in. You know, I know Coach Mack, we were talking about baseball season last year. He was telling us he's with us more than he's with his own family, especially during that playoff run we went on. I mean, we were practicing every day until it went dark, honestly.
Yeah.
And, you know, just thankful for him and all the baseball coaches I have, golf coaches. You know, my first year playing was this year, and, you know, Coach D'Angelo, Coach Weems, they really took me under their wing, and I had a great year, and it was really fun to experience that with them. So, yeah, just coaches in general.
Yeah, and that's a great point right there. Just all the time that we spend together is just it's incredible. You know, I don't necessarily get to spend time with just one or two kids, but you know, going from sport to sport to sport, just being able to spend time with everybody, that's really cool. Trip, did you think of anything?
Yeah, I'd say honestly, just like the opportunity to play, and where you know, truly you're representing what you stand for each time you put on the G or put on just what you're playing for, and it, like, not everyone is given the opportunity to like be engulfed in the athletic department and be engulfed in athletics in general. Like, I can't think of a time where in my life where I couldn't sit down and watch football, and like it's always just been something I've been able to rely on, and like God's given me the opportunity to play and be involved in this at school. And it's not that, you know, we say we're so busy all the time, but would you want to be doing anything else?
No.
So, you know, like it's definitely it's a good thing, and it's I'm truly blessed to have the opportunity and very thankful for everyone just pouring into me and pouring into the students and the way that the athletics are shaped. So I'm definitely just thankful, not necessarily thankful for it all, but thankful for it all, kind of.
Yeah, I think both of you bring up really good points. You know, the whole it is kind of a family, because we do spend so much time. I was a head baseball coach for 15 years. Thank God I have a really understanding wife, because I I would spend a lot of sleepless nights where she was probably like, "What are you thinking about over there, just tossing and turning all the time?" And then get up early the next day, and then go spend the entire day, and then just spend little time with her. And I'm so thankful for a wife that was understanding of that, so that I could go do what I really loved doing, and then just having the opportunity to do something that I wouldn't want to do anything else. That's something you brought up there, is what else would you want to do? Well, nothing.
Yeah.
So I guess what I'm thankful for is stuff like this. I've gotten the opportunity to get to know both of you guys a lot over the last 2 years, just from the student athlete leadership team, and then coming and watching y'all play, watching you be fans of your fellow students. It's just something that's really special to me, is being able to see kids do what they love to do, and hopefully I can contribute some value to what y'all are doing out there. And so that's what I'm thankful for this time of year, is just to be able to, we live in a great country where we've got the opportunity to go do things that not everybody gets to do. You look at the news and you see all the awful things going in the world with wars and stuff like that, and I almost feel like we're kind of protected from that because of where we live, and Gulfport High School giving us the opportunities to go do this. I know I told some students this last week. The best career decision I ever made was to come to Gulfport High School, because it is such a special place. I'm thankful for it. I know you guys are thankful for everything that it's done, and I just want to challenge y'all: don't ever forget this, because this is almost, can't really say this is as good as it gets, but this is a very special memory for y'all, and
sure.
and hopefully you can appreciate that, and everybody out there can. And so I think we just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving.
Very much so.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say we're thankful for you too, Coach Walters.
Of course,
yes.
Coming in, what was that? Our sophomore, end of our sophomore
End of
year?
your sophomore year, yeah.
And like you said, doing the SALT team and those early Friday mornings where we would go watch those leadership videos and eat breakfast. Just thankful for the impact you've had on our athletic department, and like starting this podcast. Like, we would never would have done this a couple of years ago. I think it's a cool outlet to showcase all the sports that we have, and I'm just thankful for Gulfport High athletics.
Appreciate that. And I think the future's only getting brighter, and you guys have contributed to that, and Tyrell's contributed to that with a lot of the stuff that he's been doing for us. I know we're transitioning into the winter season, where he's going to start showing a lot more highlights of football and basketball, as opposed to the volleyball and the football that have been going on. So soccer is going to get their highlights, and then in the spring, baseball and softball are going to get their highlights. The future's bright, but let's not forget about the present, and giving thanks for what's been in the past. So thank you to everybody for watching. Looking forward to the rest of this school year, and hopefully everybody has a great Thanksgiving. So going to take a week off next week, and then come back right back at it the week after that. And until then, hoo-yah.